Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's the last day of April, so I thought I'd try and squeeze in my final heroine page for in my Heroes and Heroines journal. I wasn't referring to the drug, don't worry. But this will be like my fourth attempt at trying to film this project, because every time I've tried to start so far, something's happened that stopped me. I started earlier on this morning and Ian started cutting the grass, which started causing a little bit too much noise. And then I sat down after he'd finished and started recording again. And then Mr. Bentley decided he wanted to come and play. And then just things like that. Third time I started doing it and next door neighbours started screaming and shouting at each other and having an argument in the garden, which was fun to listen to, but not conducive to recording a video. So, hence the fourth time I've tried to do this. So, without further ado, while it's still quiet, because Ian's taken Mr. Bentley out, let's turn over to my overhead camera and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So, this is the Heroes and Heroines journal. So, that was my hero for April. So, my heroine for April, as you've probably guessed from the thumbnail already, is going to be Marguerite Annie Johnson, better known as Maya Angelou. So that's who we're going to do today. I was first introduced to Maya around about the same time that I was first introduced to Alice Walker, through Alice Walker's novel The Colour Purple back in 1982. And then from that, I obviously got interested and was introduced to the works of Maya Angelou. So particularly the book I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which was released in 1969. So after I'd read The Colour Purple from Alice Walker, it was then recommended that I read that too. So I did do. So I went off and read that. And then disappeared from my consciousness for quite some time. And then it wasn't until I started doing art journaling when I noticed quite frequently that quotes from Maya started appearing on lots of people's art journal pages. And that's kind of like when I revisited and suddenly realised just what a varied career Maya had. And then obviously I just started reading a bit more, read some of the biographies and that kind of thing, and because she did about 5 or 6 different biographies covering different stages of her life, different aspects. Most of her books are all based on memoirs and that kind of thing, all based on fact and what's happened to her over the years. So, very interesting, extremely interesting life. Not only was she a memoirist, but she was also a dancer, a singer, a composer, also wrote songs and music which were featured in films. She had albums released back in the 50s, obviously from films and stuff, but she had an album called, I think it was Miss Calypso, which was reissued again in 1996, and I did buy a copy of that back in the day. But things like that. But she, like I said, she was a writer, she was a poet, she was an actress as well, appeared in quite a few movies, but also TV programmes as well. One which was particularly a favourite of mine back in the day was, if you remember, the TV adaptation, the first TV adaptation of Roots. Now, she appeared in that back in 1977, along with a very, very young... oh no, I've forgotten his name now. The guy that played Geordie LaForge in Star Trek The Next Generation. LeVar Burton, there you go. So back in the day. LeVar Burton, that was it. So there you go, a little bit of trivia there for you. Now then, the first piece of item that I'm putting down on the page is this. So this is a picture of a quilt that was made for Maya by fabric artist Faith Ringgold back in 1989. So this was a quilt that Faith made as a commission from Oprah Winfrey. Now, Maya and Oprah had been longtime friends. They met back in the 70s in Atlanta when Oprah was still a TV anchor on one of the TV stations in Atlanta. And the connection between, obviously, Alice Walker and Maya Angelou is through Oprah Winfrey, because Oprah also starred in the movie adaptation, Steven Spielberg's adaptation of The Colour Purple. There you go. So 6 degrees of separation, would you believe it? So yes, so this was commissioned by Oprah for Maya for her birthday in 1989, and it's called, if I can remember where it is on my notes, I did write it down, Maya's Quilt of Life. There you go. And these are excerpts from some of Maya's poems and writings down the side here, and feature Maya walking along this flower-strewn path in her favourite dress and headdress that she wore in later life. Ta-da! There you go. So there's that. So the next item we're going to stick down onto the collage is going to be the front cover of that first book that I read of hers back in the day, in the 80s, after I'd finished reading The Colour Purple, which I found quite difficult to read because it's kind of based on like letters and that kind of thing, so it's not a traditional novel in that sense. What do they call it? An epistolic novel, I think, something like that. So we're going to place this down about here on the page. So that's going to go about there, I think. Oh, no, I don't want to put that down first. I'm lying. No. The first thing I want to put down, now normally when I do these pages, I normally have the ATC sized photo, and then I have maybe one other image, larger image, that goes in the background. Like there, like there, like there, like the bus from Rosa, the main pictures from Barbara, and then obviously excerpts from The Hobbit. So with Maya, I wanted to actually put down a complete poem, and I've chosen obviously one of the most famous of her poems, the one which I still enjoy to this day. And when I was doing this, I sat down and reread it again and thought, yep, now I know why I liked it in the first place, because it's still a poem about oppression and suppression and overcoming those kind of things. And it's the poem I Still Rise. Full version there. So that's going to go down next. So we'll stick that down there. So that's going to go as the full kind of top to bottom, because I wanted it to be the main kind of feature on this page. There we go. So that's going to go there. Now I'm going to keep the pattern from the quilt showing through, because that's going to be my background. There we go, that's more like it. Is that straight? Yes, it is. Okay. So I mentioned that Maya was a dancer. So back in the day, in the 50s, she used to dance to calypso music in San Francisco in a club called the Onion Club, Purple Onion Club. And it was there she was convinced to change her name from Marguerite Johnson, or she also used to be known as Rita, Marguerite, Rita. to actually take on a professional stage name, which is where she took on the name Maya. It's got something to do with a first husband and, you know, previous names, I believe, anyway. So we're going to put that back where I wanted it to go, there, just like that. Yes, so up until about 1954, that's what she was known as, Marguerite Johnson, or Rita Johnson. But that's when Maya was born, really, 1954. Oh, yes, so Maya's birthday, I didn't mention, did I? 4th of April. There you go. Which is why she's in April. So the next thing I want to add on then is going to be a photo. Right. So yes, so not only was she a singer, she was a dancer. There is some mention of her also being a sex worker, but I'm not particularly going to go into that at this point because, you know, people had to do back in the day what they had to do to survive. So no judgments here. So yeah, so Maya recorded her first album, Miss Calypso, back in the 50s, but like I said, it was reissued again in the 90s. And this glue is going everywhere today, absolutely everywhere. And she also wrote the music and songs for a film which was released in 1957 called Calypso Heatwave, which she also starred in. Well, she performed her music in the film, as they used to do. Like, it used to have like maybe bands and that kind of thing in certain scenes, playing music and singing, you know, like Louis Armstrong did, and that kind of stuff, and others of his nature, Billie Holiday and whatever. Yeah, so not only, like I said, dancer, singer, composer, writer, poet, actress and memoirist. You can't really get much more, can you? There's not a lot more you can squeeze into one life, but obviously she did, because she was also a black rights activist too. Knew Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Back in the day, she was, I think, Malcolm X is one of the campaign, or raised money for his, or fundraiser for Malcolm X. And I think also quite Martin Luther King as well, actually. Or she did something, administrative office or whatever for Martin Luther King. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but anyway. So sadly, she died in 2014 on, was it 28th of May? Yes, 2014. There we go. So we're going to pop this down here. I'm not putting too many layers on this page because I don't want it to take away from the poem. There we go. I can go down there. But the reason why she popped back into my consciousness this year was this year in January, the US Mint issued a 25-cent coin, a quarter, and it's the first time that a black woman has been featured on one of the coins, and this is a picture of the coin. So that's now in circulation in the US. So it would be lovely to find one, but I haven't been across to the US for a few years. Must be coming up to about 8 years now since we last visited the US. I do miss it. We used to go every year. The last time we went over was to San Diego. I think we did Las Vegas and San Diego. So I'm going to put that coin in there. And that, I think, is pretty much it. I don't think I want to add much more to that page because it just speaks for itself. you know, everything on that page has something to do with her. The background quilt, the poem, the book, the coin, lots of achievements. Obviously she received that many different honorary doctorates, medals from, I think, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and all that kind of stuff back in the day. But outside of the US, not so well known. I had to explain to Ian who she was because he'd never heard of her, which is sad, really. But like I said, I had exposure to her way back in the 80s through my friends back in the day, who were all very much aware. And as soon as like The Colour Purple came out, it was required reading back when I was in my group of friends back in the 80s. So very much different backgrounds, me and Ian. I was very much into the campaigns for nuclear disarmament and all that kind of stuff, and went on many marches, and I was quite political in my youth. So, you know, this sort of thing, her activism, yeah, I would have known about it back then. But Ian, yeah, blissfully unaware. I don't think he's ever been on a march in his entire life. But anyway, so that's my April heroine, Maya Angelou. Yeah, so that's it. So the next time we open this journal, it'll be for May. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me just create that very simple collage art journal page today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.